Damn it, Asamura. We were this close. We were this close to having Kiss X Sis, and you decided to sister zone her. What the hell is wrong with you? This is not my Wincest show. We're so close to Wincest. But no, jokes aside, I was going to be doing a video on my senpai is an Otokonoko, and I had to watch this episode, obviously, because the previews from the previous episode kind of indicated that we were going this direction. And here we are. It went in that direction. It went in the direction where the Doki Dokis are happening, and we're going to jump right into bed. Now, the interesting thing, the reason why I so badly want to talk about this episode is because there's a side of me that's trying to understand exactly what happened here. Because, yes, the beginning parts of this episode is really building up more how much the two of them are connecting, which is something they've been building up for the last 2 episodes. The idea that she had fears that Asamura was going to be a little bit off-putting or dangerous, and he's actually very reliable. And it kind of left the previous episodes on the idea of, I wish they weren't as reliable. That would make it easier. She doesn't want to connect to people. And even at the end of this episode, she's still saying the same thing. I kind of wish that it wasn't that way. They're too nice. I don't want to trust them. And additionally, they're kind of getting into, yes, the idea that they're male and female. The gender aspects kind of suddenly cropping up. And additionally, this idea of urges versus acting on those urges. That yes, as he sees her underwear, he sees them, thinks something, but doesn't act on it, and she kind of gets on to him about that. It was kind of interesting. The earlier part was like, they both had this moment where they messed up in some way, but they reflect on their actions. And the earlier part seemed to indicate something to the effect of her thinking that he likes to dress up because his eyebrows are so sharp. That was a weird conversation. It was like this idea of the social norms and the idea of how you subconsciously divide things into genders. And she assumed something about him, and she felt bad about it. So he, again, brings up this idea of urges and actions that you take subconsciously, but but reflecting on them at least. And that goes to his thing with the whole underwear and the idea of stealing them and not acting on it. And then that kind of opens a door, that creeps open that door about, yes, being attracted to me in some way. And that was the aspect of the underwear. Oh, so you did think about taking them? No, I thought it, but I didn't actually take action. That's the difference. Oh, so you might have taken them. Again, I got to open that idea because so you are interested in something about me. And again, that leads into the big climactic moment where she finally goes in that room. Now, here's the oddity here. This is the thing that I'm trying to understand. Of course, it plays out once she arrives there. It plays out her point of view this entire time. The idea of coming there, the idea of the fears that she had, but how reliable Asamura is and how she's enjoying her time there and that he understands me. He understands me. He just understands everything about me. Every time he opens his mouth, every time he expresses a thought, I go, that's how I think. He's just like me. He thinks just like me. And thus this leads her to do this. Here's the troubling part. Because everything up until this point has pointed to Ayase not liking how people see her. Not liking the rumors. And she was even mad that he accepted the rumors. But she understood the fact that he was mad that he did that. So even though he did play into what everybody else does, he at least got mad about it. So that shows me that that was not something that he wanted to do. But still, the picture here that we're painting is that she doesn't like how people assume things about her mother. That was the thing that she gets into towards the later part. The idea that the father at some point was not doing well with his job and the mother started trying to work extra hard in order to support her. And he's seen the work that she was doing as selling herself. The father's seen things exactly how Ayase feels people see her. So that's kind of, I guess, probably more so what's kind of drilled that into her head. Additionally with everybody else. Again, this is her armor that she puts on. She does herself up in a way of protecting herself. But it was all to this idea of women being seen as, if they're beautiful, trying to use their bodies to get ahead. So the question is, why did she do that to Asamura? That's the weird thing. Because yes, I joked about it. Yes, we were so close to Wincest, but I also kind of understand why he does it. It's like that aspect of like, yes, we're going there, boys, we win. But he pushes it away, and you want to say, damn it, dude, come on. She wants you so bad. Do it, Wincest, all that kind of stuff. But bottling it down and actually being serious about this, he makes the right choice. Because again, if he gives into this, he's doing exactly what she hates so much. The question is why she does it. Because the thing that she says is, Asamura, are you willing to buy my body? Girl, why? Like, why did you say that? Like, I'd be perfectly fine if she didn't say that, but she said that. It's like, that's completely against everything that she's developed her character as so far. So it doesn't make sense to me. This is the only part of the episode that really doesn't make sense to me. The only way that I can explain it right now is that she's playing into what everybody wants. She's been fighting it away for so long, and now finally when she's got some urge, she has some love seemingly for him, she says it towards the later part. I have this feeling that's different than a brother. She has this feeling of love, seemingly. So far, it has a seemingly a feeling that she is in love with him because he's so reliable. Every time I say his name, I get doki doki. I don't want to call him big brother. All these kind of things. The big brother thing was she doesn't want to rely on him, but she's in love. And she doesn't know what to do with it. And it makes her mad because, yes, she doesn't want to rely on people. And if she calls him big brother, she'll rely on him. And she's getting all doki doki. And she doesn't want that. All these things are happening that she doesn't want. But it almost feels like because she's in love, now suddenly she's okay with accepting the stuff if it's what he wants. I almost wonder if it's because he believed that lie and because she feels like society wants to see her that way, that she'll allow it if that's what he wants. And that's kind of the interesting part of it. And the idea that the father said that the mother was selling her body because society says that she's selling her body, because the school and the rumors says that she's selling herself, that she's using her body to get ahead. So if she wants this thing, she'll play into it if that's what he wants, if that's what society wants. That's the only way that I can explain it. Because again, why would you, somebody that was constantly saying that they don't like the idea that people see that way, would go into the room, the only person that you trust, the only person that seems to understand you, and say, will you buy my body? It's like, what? Why is that the first thing that comes in? And she even says afterwards, when he pushed her away, she says, I figured since you'd understand it that much. And he cuts her off. No, it's not about me. It's about you. You're exactly the type of woman that I don't like. It's just kind of weird. It is kind of weird. But I do really love that whole scene. I like how they kind of portrayed it and the idea that she comes there. It looks like she has this tension. I'm not sure exactly what the triple dot thing is. I'm assuming that's kind of that tension building up because they do it again later on. There's this tension building up and she walks in the room. She does something that's a massive mistake for her that she's doing anyway. Goes in there. It all kind of happens. It starts to play out how she got to that point in her life, what her mindset was going into that room. It is a very interesting way of kind of portraying that out. I do have to say that I like that they did this whole segment from her perspective, because my concern here would be, from Asamura's perspective, I wouldn't be able to understand exactly where she was going with her mindset here, and I would really start to question what exactly was her end game. But again, at least I get an idea that it does seem like all signs are pointing to the fact that she has fell in love with him. And now I kind of want his perspective to see exactly what he thinks of the situation outside of, yes, just kind of saying a bunch of kind words. Because that's kind of been my issue with the series so far, is that I feel like he's just so plain and he's just a good person. And that's not really intriguing when it comes to a situation like this that feels very psychological. Yes, we get a little bit of perspective into him and the words that he says, kind of equating their family with her family and the idea of what they've dealt with. The mother herself cheated on the father, and that has created this distrust. His father does not trust women for a long time, and it seems like he's obviously finally opened up because now he's remarrying. And then it explains the opening scene of the first episode and the idea of the father saying, I'm finally ready to get married again. That it seems like it's been a while and he's finally accepted somebody else. Not that it was somebody had died, like the mother had died, and he's finally moving on. This is I finally learned to trust again. But Ase is kind of equating that to Asamura not trusting women, which I can see that. That would probably be why he said what he said when they first talked. She said, I don't want to expect anything from you. Don't expect anything from me. Let's just kind of keep it that way. And he was relieved. He probably because he didn't want to have an expectation put upon him by a female. Yes, he could have issues and trust issues with females, which I don't know if I can completely agree, because it does seem like he interacts with his coworker very well. It doesn't seem, she teases him a lot, and it doesn't seem like he feels off-put. Yes, they tease each other, he does kind of fire back, but it never feels like he's trying to get out of the room really quickly if she does tease him. So I don't know, maybe that will actually turn to something, or maybe that's just an assumption that Ayase is doing, but it does kind of make another thing that the two of them see eye to eye with, that they both have these issues. They're both very similar in a lot of ways. It was cool to finally get an idea of what the hell happened after Ayase almost got hit by a truck. I was complaining about that in my first impressions, that it just kind of skipped right past that. Even though the rest of the series has been very slow moving, like even this episode, we had this whole segment where they're just sitting in quiet and eating dinner, and it's like, man, they're really wanting to, dig it into your head that they are not communicating right now. There is something in between the two of them. But again, that could be another thing that explains why she takes the action she does. She was deciding at that point that I'm going to try to sleep with him because I need to pay him, and this is what's expected of me. It kind of plays in that same realm as something like Higehiro. I really enjoyed Higehiro because the idea behind that one was that expectation. She's lived her entire life giving her body. This is what she feels like men just want. So when somebody actually reaches out and helps her, she assumes that's what they want. And again, that could be why she decided to do that with Asamura. But no, what I was getting to with that, but yes, they finally showed what happened after she nearly got hit by the truck. And it seems like it, based on the text dialogue, they kind of had her talking over subtitles of what was actually being said. And it seems like she was listening to English lessons. And when he caught her and got mad at her, he heard, I guess, the English lesson playing through the earbuds, and she was embarrassed by that. She was embarrassed that he learned that she was trying really hard, which is, again, another one of those oddities because she technically has said that to him, that she's working really hard to prove people wrong. Why would she be embarrassed by that? Other than the fact that now she has feelings for him and feels like he'll see that as not cool, that she's having to work that hard. But yeah, now that's been shot down for Ayase's side of the whole thing. It does make me believe that she's no longer... I feel like there's a chance that she might start being a little bit more teasy with him to try to get him to respond. If she does realize what she feels is love and that she wants to start acting on it, she might start teasing him a lot more, or at least showing things every now and then to see if she can entice him a little bit. But I don't know, this is something that she's been guarding herself for a long time, so I feel like her doing that, she'll feel wrong in doing so, especially now that he's sort of pointed out, like, you are becoming exactly what you don't want to become. What's the point of all that fighting if you're just going to give in now? But I'm really hoping in the next episode we'll get his perspective on this whole situation again. If this is something, it does seem like this is obviously something that he's okay with. It's just that he didn't like the way that she was presenting it and that it was breaking that. But again, the idea of him literally saying, "Call me brother," is literally sister zoning her. He's just like, no, call me brother from now on. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like the idea that she was doing that, acting as a step sibling, and he wants her to start calling him Oni-chan before she does it. Maybe he just wants her to literally be his sister before he accepts it. But it does seem like he's trying to push her away in that regard. And so it'll be interesting to see if he changed his mind. Like, no, never mind. This is something I can't keep my... It could be an aspect that he'll keep thinking about that situation. And that's going to eventually make him go, you know what? I actually think I need this. I actually think I like this. Or based on how it was portrayed, it sort of tried to downplay the maturity of the scene. Like, it was purposely trying not to show too much. Like, it didn't want to show Ayase in her underwear. Like, they really made sure the shots were trying to really crop her out. They didn't want to get close and show a bunch of chest or show a bunch of butt or anything like that. Sort of what a lot of people had a criticism for Higehiro, where Higehiro was making a promising and positive message on the idea of this guy saying no, but the camera got a little bit icy, much to the delight of a lot of people. But to the context of the story, I felt it was really kind of showing what the guy was pushing away, but people can see it as being, no, this is exactly where you're going with this. Whereas with this portrayal of it, it almost felt like it was trying to say, no, this is not what we're going for, and going forward, they're going to actually be just brother and sister. But again, I don't trust them. This is a story from Japan. We so going the Wincest route. Anyways, interesting episode. I hope I covered everything, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit that like button down below, comment. Let me know, do you think you made the wrong move? Were y'all excited for the Wincest to happen? Were you ready for Kiss X Sis moment here? Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button to get my content. I do news reviews, first impressions, top lists, if it's anime, it's pretty much here. I might actually end up covering this show on a weekly basis. I don't know if there's enough in each episode to really talk about. But if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips, links, so thanks, membership button below. Greatly appreciate what it does. Y'all take care.